Have you ever felt stuck in a cycle where you're constantly giving and giving, hoping that one day they'll notice your value? Maybe you've been chasing their approval, their attention, their love, and yet, the more you chase, the more distant they seem. It's frustrating, isn't it? But what if I told you there's a way to break free from this cycle, a way to flip the script entirely? And here's the kicker: it doesn't require begging, arguing, or even talking. In fact, the secret lies in doing something counterintuitive, something most people are too afraid to try. You simply disappear. I'm not talking about ghosting or running away. I'm talking about mastering the art of stepping back, of reclaiming your power through absence. This isn't a mind game. It's a strategy, one that's rooted in the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and the powerful psychological principles of scarcity and perception. When you remove yourself from someone's life, even temporarily, you force them to confront what life feels like without you. And let me tell you, that absence can be more impactful than any words you could ever say. Now, before we dive into the details, let's pause for a moment. Ask yourself, are you ready to become the person who is no longer at the mercy of others' whims? Are you ready to take control of your emotions, your energy, and ultimately, your relationships? If the answer is yes, you're in the right place. Welcome to Stoic Blessing. On this channel, we blend the ancient philosophy of Stoicism with the cutting-edge insights of dark psychology to help you master your mind and influence your world. Today, we're talking about one of the most powerful yet underrated tools you can use to shift the dynamics of any relationship: the power of disappearance. But hold on, this isn't about manipulation or playing petty games. This is about something much deeper, something transformational. It's about stepping into your value and commanding respect without ever having to ask for it. It's about creating a dynamic where people feel compelled to come back to you, not because you force them, but because they want to. And this isn't just theory. This is a proven psychological phenomenon that works time and time again when executed correctly. If you're intrigued by this idea already, let me know in the comments by typing, "I am power," because that's exactly what this strategy is designed to unlock: your inner power. And while you're at it, hit that like button to signal you're ready to take control of your relationships and your life. I promise, what I'm about to share will make you see things from a perspective you've never considered before. So here's how it works. When you stop chasing, you stop feeding the dynamic where you're the one giving all the energy. Instead, you create a void that they can't ignore. People are wired to crave what they can't have, to desire what feels scarce. This isn't just a random idea. It's rooted in psychological principles like the law of scarcity and the concept of intermittent reinforcement. But it's also deeply tied to the ancient Stoic teaching of emotional discipline, the ability to detach, to remain calm, and to let others come to you on your terms. We're about to uncover why this works so effectively, and more importantly, how you can use it in a way that aligns with your integrity, because power without ethics is meaningless. If you're ready to learn how to disappear strategically and watch them crawl back, then let's dive in. This might just be the most transformative video you've watched this year. Let's talk about the concept of absence, not just as a physical state, but as a psychological weapon. Most people underestimate the sheer power of stepping back, of creating distance. Why? Because we've been conditioned to believe that more effort equals more results. If they're pulling away, we should chase harder, right? If they're ignoring us, we should try to get louder. But here's the truth: the harder you push, the more they'll resist. It's human nature. The more available you are, the less they value you. That's why absence is so powerful. It's the ultimate paradox. By stepping back, you actually pull them closer. Here's the psychology behind it. When someone disappears from our lives, whether it's temporary or permanent, we feel a loss. And loss triggers a deep psychological response. It forces the brain to focus on what's missing. This is known as the Zeigarnik effect, a cognitive bias where unfinished business stays at the forefront of our minds. When you remove yourself, you become that unfinished business. They can't stop thinking about you because you're no longer there to fill that gap. But it's not just about creating a void, it's about how you handle that void. This is where the principles of Stoicism come in. The Stoics taught us that emotional control is the foundation of true power. By choosing to step back, calmly, intentionally, and without any dramatic displays, you're sending a clear message. I don't need you to complete me. I am whole on my own. And trust me, that kind of energy is magnetic. It commands respect and attention. Think about this for a moment. When was the last time you truly valued something that was always within reach? We don't cherish what we perceive as abundant. It's the things that feel scarce, elusive, or rare that capture our attention and hold our interest. By disappearing, you transform yourself into something rare. You shift from being someone who's always there to someone they have to work to get back. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but what if they don't notice? What if they don't care that I'm gone? And that's a valid fear. But here's the truth. If your presence has had any impact on their life, and trust me, it has, they will notice. They may not show it right away, but your absence will create an emotional ripple effect. And that ripple will grow the longer you stay disciplined. The key here is to disappear with intention. This isn't about storming out or announcing your exit. It's about quietly, calmly stepping back and letting your absence speak louder than words ever could. Remember, this isn't a game. It's a shift in mindset. It's a way of saying, I know my worth, and I don't need to convince anyone of it. That's where true power lies. If this idea resonates with you, take a moment to hit that like button and let me know in the comments by typing, I choose my value. Because that's what you're doing here. Choosing to value yourself enough to step back, to stop chasing, and to let them come to you. Absence creates space for reflection, and reflection forces them to confront what they've lost. In that space, you become more than just a memory. You become a question they can't answer, a void they can't fill. That's the power of disappearing. But to do this effectively, you need to master the art of emotional detachment, and that's exactly what we're going to cover next. If you want to truly harness the power of disappearing, there's one skill you absolutely must master: emotional detachment. And let's be real, this is where most people struggle. Why? Because stepping back often feels counterintuitive. You want to fix things, you want to communicate, you want to make them understand how you feel. But here's the truth. The moment you let your emotions control you, you lose your power. That's where Stoicism becomes your greatest ally. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control other people, not their actions, not their feelings, not their decisions. The only thing we have control over is ourselves, our thoughts, our reactions, and ultimately, our emotions. When you internalize this, you realize that chasing someone, over-explaining yourself, or trying to force a connection is a waste of your energy. Instead, you step back and let go, not out of weakness, but out of strength. You're telling yourself, I trust my worth, and I'm okay whether they see it or not. That's real power. But let's be honest, detaching emotionally is easier said than done. We're wired to seek connection, to crave validation. When you pull back, your mind will try to convince you to reach out, to fill the silence, to break the tension. This is where the Stoic principle of apatheia comes in, a state of being unbothered by external circumstances. It's not about suppressing your feelings, but about understanding them and refusing to let them dictate your actions. Think about it this way. When you disappear, you're not just creating a void for them to feel your absence. You're also giving yourself the space to grow stronger, to refocus on your own priorities. Detachment is not about being cold or indifferent. It's about valuing your peace over their approval. It's about saying, I choose myself over chasing someone who doesn't choose me. And that's one of the most liberating decisions you'll ever make. Here's a practical tip to start mastering emotional detachment. Whenever you feel the urge to reach out, pause and ask yourself, what am I hoping to achieve? If the answer is anything other than prioritizing your peace, stop. Redirect that energy toward yourself. Journal your thoughts, go for a run, or work on a personal project. The goal is to break the habit of seeking external validation and replace it with internal growth. That's how you start to reclaim your power. And here's the thing, when you detach emotionally, people sense it. They notice that you're no longer chasing, no longer invested in their every move. And that shift in energy, it's magnetic. It creates curiosity. It forces them to wonder, what changed? Why aren't they reacting like they used to? That's the power of Stoic detachment. It's silent, it's subtle, but it's incredibly effective. If you're ready to start mastering emotional detachment, let me know in the comments by typing, I control my emotions. And don't forget to hit that like button if this is resonating with you. Because learning to control your emotions is the first step toward taking control of your life. Once you've mastered detachment, you're ready to activate one of the most powerful psychological triggers, scarcity. In the next section, we'll dive deep into why people are hardwired to chase what feels rare and how you can use this to your advantage. Why do people desire what they can't have? It's not a coincidence. It's hardwired into our psychology. The principle of scarcity is one of the most powerful forces in human behavior. When something feels rare or fleeting, our brain perceives it as more valuable, and when something becomes less available, we naturally feel a greater urgency to attain it. This isn't just a theory, it's a cornerstone of behavioral psychology. And when it comes to relationships, scarcity is a game changer. Think about it. When someone is constantly available, always reaching out, always there when you need them, you start to take their presence for granted. It's not intentional, it's human nature. But when that same person suddenly pulls back, their absence creates a gap. And that gap becomes impossible to ignore. Your mind starts to fill in the blanks. Why aren't they reaching out? What are they doing? Did I lose them? The more you wonder, the more their value in your mind increases. This is the power of scarcity at work. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. The moment you become less available, you shift from being a constant to being a mystery. And mystery is magnetic. People are drawn to what they can't fully understand or predict. By disappearing, even temporarily, you tap into this psychological trigger and make yourself the center of their attention, whether they realize it or not. But let's be clear, this doesn't mean you should play hard to get or fake disinterest. True scarcity is about genuinely redirecting your energy away from them and toward yourself. It's about becoming less available because you're focused on your own growth, your own goals, your own life. That authenticity is what makes this so powerful. It's not about manipulation, it's about creating a dynamic where your presence feels earned, not expected. Here's an example. Think of a limited edition item. When you know it's only available for a short time, you'll go out of your way to get it. You'll prioritize it, even if it wasn't on your radar before. The same principle applies to you. When your time and attention are perceived as limited, they become infinitely more valuable. And suddenly, the person who may have been ignoring you is now trying to figure out how to get back into your orbit. The beauty of scarcity is that it works subtly, behind the scenes. You're not chasing, you're not demanding attention, you're simply stepping back and letting the natural psychological response do the work for you. But here's the key. For this to work, you need to stay disciplined. Resist the urge to check in, to break the silence, to make yourself overly available. Remember, scarcity loses its power the moment it feels artificial or forced. If this idea of scarcity resonates with you, drop a comment saying, I am rare, because that's exactly what you are. A unique, valuable presence. And if you're finding value in this so far, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps the channel and shows me that you're serious about stepping into your power. So what happens when you create scarcity? They start to notice. They start to feel the void. But here's the real magic. Scarcity isn't just about them chasing you. It's about creating the space for them to choose you. And in the next section, we'll explore how disappearing flips the script entirely and why this subtle shift in dynamics is so incredibly effective. Now that we've explored the power of scarcity, let's talk about how disappearing flips the script in any relationship. You see, most people operate in predictable patterns. When someone pulls away, the natural response is to chase. It's instinctual. The fear of loss drives us to hold on tighter. But what happens when you do the opposite? What happens when, instead of chasing, you step back, disengage, and let the situation unfold on its own terms? That's when the power dynamics shift in your favor. Here's why this works. Disappearing disrupts their expectations. If you've been the one putting in all the effort, initiating conversations, making plans, showing up consistently, they've come to expect it. They assume you'll always be there no matter what, but when you pull back, it forces them to reevaluate. They're left wondering, what happened? Did I do something wrong? Are they moving on? Suddenly, you're no longer the predictable constant. You're the unanswered question. This shift creates a powerful psychological effect. When someone is unsure of where they stand with you, their mind becomes preoccupied with trying to figure it out. They replay past interactions, analyze every detail, and start to miss the presence they once took for granted. And the more they think about you, the more emotionally invested they become. This is where the magic happens. By stepping back, you're not just flipping the script, you're creating a dynamic where they're chasing you. But this isn't just about making them miss you, it's about re-establishing balance. When you disappear, you're sending a clear message. I'm not here to beg for your time or attention. I value myself too much for that. And whether they realize it consciously or not, that kind of self-respect is incredibly attractive. It shifts the dynamic from one of imbalance to one of mutual interest, but only if they're willing to step up and meet you halfway. Here's something important to remember. Disappearing isn't about punishing them or playing games. It's about giving both of you the space to reflect. For you, it's an opportunity to focus on your own growth, to reassess what you truly want, and to decide whether this person deserves a place in your life. For them, it's a chance to realize your value and decide if they're willing to make the effort to keep you in their world. The key to making this work is consistency. You can't disappear for a day, then check in the next and expect results. This is where emotional discipline comes into play. You need to commit to the process and trust that your absence is making an impact, even if you don't see immediate results. Remember, the goal isn't to manipulate, it's to realign the dynamic so that your presence feels valued, not expected. If you're ready to start flipping the script, let me know in the comments by typing, "I choose my power," because that's what this is about, reclaiming your power and creating the space for others to rise to meet you. And if you're finding value in this, hit that like button to show your support and help others discover this game-changing strategy. Now that you understand how disappearing flips the script, it's time to take it a step further. In the next section, we'll explore a powerful psychological technique called intermittent reinforcement. This is the secret to keeping them hooked, and it's not something you want to miss. If disappearing is the foundation of creating scarcity and flipping the script, intermittent reinforcement is the tool that keeps them hooked. It's a concept borrowed from behavioral psychology, and it's so powerful that it's used in everything from relationships to marketing to the design of addictive social media apps. But how does it work? And how can you use it effectively without crossing the line into manipulation? Let's break it down. Intermittent reinforcement is simple. Instead of giving someone consistent rewards, like constant attention, praise, or availability, You give it to them unpredictably. The human brain craves patterns and predictability, and when those patterns are broken, it creates a heightened sense of interest. Think about a slot machine. People keep pulling the lever not because they win every time, but because the rewards are random. The uncertainty keeps them coming back for more, hoping the next pull will be the big one. The same principle applies to relationships. When you combine intermittent reinforcement with the power of scarcity, the effect is amplified. You've already created space by stepping back and disappearing. Now, when you re-engage, whether it's through a text, a conversation, or an in-person interaction, you do so sparingly and unpredictably. You're not ignoring them, you're simply giving them small doses of attention at just the right moments to keep them intrigued. And because they can't predict when or how you'll show up, they become more invested in trying to win your attention. Here's an example. Imagine you've pulled back for a while and then, out of the blue, you send a simple but thoughtful message. Maybe it's something like, "I saw this today and it reminded me of you." It's light, it's casual, but it's enough to spark curiosity. You're not flooding them with messages or trying to reignite everything at once. You're creating a moment of connection and then stepping back again. This creates a push and pull dynamic that keeps them engaged. But here's the catch. Intermittent reinforcement only works if it's genuine. If you're doing this as part of a calculated game or trying to manipulate someone into feeling something they don't, it will backfire. People can sense inauthenticity. That's why it's so important to focus on your own growth and goals during the periods when you're not engaging. Your energy should come from a place of confidence and self-respect, not desperation or a desire to control. Another important aspect of intermittent reinforcement is balance. You're not withholding affection to punish them, and you're not disappearing to create anxiety. You're simply introducing unpredictability into the dynamic to make your interactions more meaningful. Think of it as quality over quantity. When you do engage, it should feel genuine, positive, and impactful, not forced or routine. Here's a pro tip. Pay attention to their responses. If they're showing genuine interest and effort, you can gradually increase the consistency of your interactions. But if they're still taking you for granted, maintain your distance and let them experience the full weight of your absence. This isn't about playing games, it's about setting boundaries and ensuring that your energy is reciprocated. If this concept resonates with you, let me know in the comments by typing, "I value my energy." Because that's what intermittent reinforcement is all about. Valuing your time, your attention, and your presence enough to give it only to those who appreciate it. Intermittent reinforcement keeps them guessing, but it also keeps you in control. And when you combine this with the strategies we've discussed so far, the results can be transformative. In the next section, we'll take it one step further by exploring what happens when they start to crawl back, and how you can handle that situation with grace and confidence. By now, you've set the stage. You've disappeared, created scarcity, and sprinkled in moments of intermittent reinforcement. So, what happens next? If you've done this right, you'll start to notice a shift in their behavior. They'll begin to reach out, to test the waters, to try to reclaim the connection they once took for granted. This is what we call the crawl back phenomenon, the moment they realize your absence is more powerful than your presence ever was. Let's break this down. When someone feels your absence, it creates a void, and in that void, they begin to reflect on what they've lost. They think about the times you showed up for them, the effort you put into the relationship, the way you made them feel. But now, those things are no longer there. This sense of loss triggers something deep within their psyche, a need to close the gap, to restore what's missing. And the longer they sit with this, the more urgent that need becomes. But here's where it gets interesting. The way they crawl back will often depend on their personality and the depth of your connection. Some people might start with small, subtle moves, a text, a like on your social media post, a casual comment that feels like it's coming out of nowhere. Others might make a bold gesture, reaching out with a long message or an unexpected phone call. Regardless of the approach, the underlying message is the same. They've noticed your absence, and they want back in. Now, this is where your power truly comes into play. It's tempting to jump at the first sign of attention, to immediately re-engage and pick up where things left off. But remember, you've worked hard to create this dynamic. You've shifted the power balance, and you've shown them that your time and energy are valuable. Don't undo all of that by rushing back into old patterns. Instead, take your time. Let them earn your attention. Let them prove that they're serious about valuing your presence this time around. This isn't about playing hard to get or holding grudges. It's about setting standards. If they're genuinely making an effort, acknowledge it, but don't give them everything all at once. Maintain a sense of mystery and keep the dynamic balanced. For example, if they reach out, respond thoughtfully, but not immediately. If they suggest meeting up, take a moment to consider if it aligns with your priorities before agreeing. This measured approach keeps you in control, while also giving them the opportunity to show that they're willing to meet you halfway. And here's the most important thing. You need to stay grounded in your own sense of self-worth. The goal here isn't to get them to crawl back so you can feel validated. The goal is to create a dynamic where both of you respect and value each other. If their behavior is still inconsistent, or if they're not showing genuine effort, it's okay to walk away for good. Remember, your value doesn't depend on their approval. At this point, you may be wondering, what if they don't crawl back? What if they just move on? And that's a valid question. Here's the answer. If someone doesn't respond to your absence, it's a clear sign that they weren't willing to invest in the relationship in the first place. And while that might sting in the short term, it's a blessing in disguise. It frees you up to focus on people who truly value you. Because the truth is, the right people will always notice your worth, and they'll be willing to fight for it. If this idea resonates with you, let me know in the comments by typing, "I know my worth." And if this video is empowering you to take control of your relationships, don't forget to hit that like button. It's a small action that helps this channel grow and reach more people who need to hear this message. So, now they're starting to crawl back. But how do you make sure the dynamic stays healthy and balanced moving forward? In the next section, we'll talk about the ethical boundaries of using these strategies and how to maintain integrity while reclaiming your power. Let's pause for a moment and talk about something crucial: ethics. By now, you understand the psychological power behind disappearing, creating scarcity, and using intermittent reinforcement. But with great power comes great responsibility. These strategies are incredibly effective, but they should always be used with integrity and respect. Why? Because relationships are about connection and mutual growth, not control or manipulation. So, where do we draw the line? It all comes down to intention. Ask yourself, why are you using these strategies? If your goal is to inspire genuine reflection, to shift unhealthy dynamics, and to create a more balanced relationship, then you're on the right track. But if your goal is to punish, manipulate, or play mind games, it's time to reassess. Because using these tactics for the wrong reasons will ultimately backfire on both you and the other person. Think of this approach as a tool for empowerment, not manipulation. Disappearing isn't about making someone feel small or insecure. It's about creating space for yourself to grow and giving them the opportunity to reflect on their own actions. Intermittent reinforcement isn't about dangling a carrot in front of them to control their behavior. It's about re-establishing balance and showing that your time and energy are valuable. The key is to stay rooted in authenticity. Now, here's a question I get asked a lot. What if they accuse me of playing games? This is a valid concern, and it usually comes from a place of frustration or insecurity on their part. If this happens, take a moment to reflect. Are you truly being intentional and ethical in your approach? If the answer is yes, then calmly explain your perspective if the conversation arises. Something like, "I've been focusing on myself and taking time to reflect." It's not about playing games, it's about creating balance and understanding what I want. Keep it honest and straightforward. If they're willing to engage in a healthy dialogue, that's a good sign. If they react negatively or dismissively, it may be a red flag about their ability to communicate effectively. Another important boundary to consider is reciprocity. Relationships are a two-way street. If the other person starts making an effort to meet you halfway, it's your responsibility to recognize and appreciate that. Disappearing isn't a permanent state. It's a temporary strategy to recalibrate the dynamic. Once balance is restored, it's up to both of you to nurture the connection and build something healthier moving forward. And let's not forget about self-accountability. This process isn't just about making the other person reflect on their behavior. It's also an opportunity for you to examine your own patterns. Are you showing up authentically in your relationships? Are you communicating your needs effectively? Are you respecting the boundaries of others? The work goes both ways, and this period of absence can be a powerful time for personal growth. Here's the bottom line. These strategies are tools, not weapons. Use them responsibly and always stay true to your values. If this resonates with you, drop a comment saying, "I choose integrity." Because at the end of the day, power is meaningless if it's not grounded in respect and authenticity. In the next section, we're going to bring all of these concepts together. I'll show you how to implement these strategies in your life in a way that's effective, ethical, and aligned with your goals. If you've been finding value in this, don't forget to hit that like button. It's a small action that makes a big difference in supporting this channel and spreading this message. Now that we've explored the psychology and principles behind disappearing, creating scarcity, and using intermittent reinforcement, it's time to talk about how to implement these strategies in your own life. This is where the real work begins. And the key here is intentionality. If you want these techniques to work, they need to come from a place of self-respect and personal growth, not desperation or manipulation. So let's break it down into actionable steps you can start using today. Step 1. Reflect and reassess. Before you disappear, take a moment to reflect on the relationship and your role in it. Are you overextending yourself? Are you chasing someone who isn't reciprocating your energy? Or are you in a dynamic where your value isn't being recognized? This self-awareness is critical because disappearing is not about punishing the other person. It's about reclaiming your energy and focusing it where it's appreciated. Journal your thoughts or talk to a trusted friend to gain clarity on your situation. Step 2. Disappear with purpose. When you step back, it should be quiet, calm, and intentional. This isn't about making a dramatic exit or announcing your plans. Instead, start by reducing your availability. Don't be the first to text or call. Politely decline plans if they don't align with your priorities. The goal is to create space for them to feel your absence while you focus on your own life. And remember, this is as much about your growth as it is about shifting the dynamic. Step 3. Focus on self-improvement. Use this time to invest in yourself. Pick up that hobby you've been neglecting, hit the gym, learn a new skill, spend time with people who uplift and inspire you. The more you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, the less you'll feel the need to chase anyone's approval. And here's the bonus. When you're genuinely focused on your growth, your energy becomes magnetic. People notice, even from a distance. Step 4. Re-engage sparingly. Once you've created space, you can start to reintroduce yourself into their life, but only if it feels right. This is where intermittent reinforcement comes into play. When you do reach out, make it thoughtful and meaningful. A simple message or gesture that shows you care but doesn't overwhelm them. Then pull back again. The goal is to keep the dynamic balanced while letting them feel the value of your presence. Step 5. Maintain your boundaries. As they start to crawl back, and they likely will, it's important to stay true to your standards. Don't fall into old patterns of overgiving or overchasing. Set clear boundaries about what you expect from the relationship and stick to them. If they're serious about reconnecting, they'll respect those boundaries. If they're not, then you've just saved yourself from a one-sided relationship. And step 6. Be prepared to let go. Not everyone will respond to these strategies the way you hope, and that's okay. If someone doesn't notice your absence or fails to meet you halfway, it's a clear sign that they weren't meant to be in your life. Letting go can be difficult, but it's also liberating. It creates space for people who genuinely value you to step in. Remember, your worth isn't determined by anyone else's recognition of it. Here's a tip to keep in mind as you implement these steps. Patience is key. Shifting relationship dynamics takes time, and you might not see results right away. Stay consistent, stay disciplined, and trust the process. The more you focus on your own growth and self-respect, the more natural and effective these strategies will become. If you're ready to start implementing these strategies, let me know in the comments by typing, "I reclaim my energy." And if this video has been helpful so far, don't forget to hit that like button. It's a simple way to support this channel and help others discover this powerful message. Now that you know how to take action, there's one final piece of the puzzle to discuss. In the next section, we'll bring everything together with a powerful empowerment message that will leave you feeling ready to step into your full power and take control of your relationships and your life. You've made it to the final step, and by now you've gained a deep understanding of the power of disappearing, the psychology of scarcity, and the art of mastering your own energy. But let's zoom out for a moment. This journey isn't just about relationships or power dynamics. It's about something far greater. It's about reclaiming control over your life, stepping into your worth, and recognizing that you are the prize. The moment you truly internalize this, everything changes. Here's what I want you to remember. You don't need anyone's approval to validate your existence. You are already whole. And when you start living from this truth, you become unstoppable. The people who are meant to be in your life will recognize your value, not because you chased them, but because you stood firmly in your power. And those who can't see your worth, they'll naturally fall away, making room for people who do. Think about the Stoic philosophers we've referenced throughout this video. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the essence of everything we've discussed today. By mastering your mind, your emotions, and your energy, you free yourself from the chains of neediness, insecurity, and imbalance. You become the calm within the storm, someone who doesn't just react to life but intentionally shapes it. Let's also address something important. This process isn't about being perfect. It's about progress. There will be moments when you feel tempted to break the silence, to chase, to revert to old habits. And that's okay. What matters is that you recognize those moments for what they are and choose to realign with your worth. Growth isn't linear, but every step you take towards self-respect and intentional living is a step in the right direction. As you move forward, remember that these strategies are tools, not just for reclaiming power in relationships, but for building a life that reflects your highest self. When you disappear, you're not just stepping back from someone else. You're stepping forward into your own potential, and the ripple effects of that decision will transform not only your relationships, but every aspect of your life. So, what's the next step? It's up to you. Take what you've learned here and apply it in a way that feels authentic and aligned with your values. Trust yourself, trust the process, and trust that the right people will rise to meet you. You don't have to force connections or beg for attention. You are enough, just as you are. If this message has resonated with you, let me know in the comments by typing, "I am the prize." Say it, own it, and live it. And if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe to Stoic Blessing, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos like this one. This is just the beginning of your journey toward mastering your mind and your relationships. Together, we're creating a community of people who are stepping into their power and living with intention. Thank you for being here, for investing in yourself, and for taking the time to grow. Remember, your value doesn't come from anyone else's recognition. It comes from within. Stay strong, stay disciplined, and always choose yourself first. Until next time, keep embracing your inner power and living with the wisdom of the Stoics. You've got this.